Tonight, two major setbacks for Republican efforts to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, a key priority of the new administration, certainly the new Congress. First, the Trump administration had planned to pull the plug on all Obamacare outreach and advertising in the crucial final days of the 2017 enrollment season, sources at HHS and on the Hill told Politico, even if ads had already been placed and paid for. But after outcry from supporters of Obamacare, patient advocates and insurers, they're now reversing course, deciding to continue public outreach for the last few days of open enrollment. And this comes after the Washington Post obtained an audio recording of a closed-door planning session at the GOP's retreat, revealing a party in chaos behind the scenes, plagued by doubts about the way forward. Quote, "We better be sure that we're prepared to live with the market we've created with repeal," said Congressman Tom McClintock of California. "That's going to be called Trump Care. Republicans will own that lock, stock, and barrel and will be judged in the election less than 2 years away." Another congressman raised concerns about using the ACA repeal to defund Planned Parenthood. Quote, "We are just walking into a giant political trap if we go down this path of sticking Planned Parenthood in the health insurance bill," said John Faso, a freshman congressman from New York. "If you want to do it somewhere else, I have no problem, but I think we are creating a political minefield for ourselves, House and Senate."
I mean, I've been one of the lone voices that said that Republicans were digging themselves a big hole. First of all, they have overpromised to the moon. They were going to make it cheaper and better and more choices. This is not dish soap. This is health care, and there's only so many things you can do. Then Donald Trump doubled down and said he was going to give health care coverage to everyone. That sounds like universal coverage, not just access. So they've set the bar really, really high, and they really have not thought this through. You're exactly right, Chris. They never thought they were going to win the presidency. They've been at this for 7 years. They don't have a single plan. I was actually kind of reassured by hearing them behind closed doors because they're saner in private than they are in public. You know, Paul Ryan has essentially been lying to the American people and lying to his members, saying, "Oh, we're all on the same page. We're on the same page with Trump." Trump doesn't have a page. He doesn't have a book. He doesn't have a library. Poor Paul Ryan, you know, he has to fake it. And this really blows the cover on the fact that these people are all over the map. Of course they are. There is no perfect solution. And what's more, at the end of the day, they're going to have to get 8 Democratic senators.
Right.
They can't even get themselves all on the same page.
Well, that's a great point about the filibuster. There are certain things they can do in reconciliation,
right,
but they can't create a new healthcare system through reconciliation.
So it reminds me, like you were saying, I have a bit of deja vu to covering the 2009-2010 Obamacare effort. I think the difference here is Democrats had a clear goal in mind then. They wanted to cover more people with health insurance. It's not really clear what exactly Republicans are groping towards aside from getting rid of the Affordable Care Act.
That is a great point. And what is the plan? And Jennifer's point about promising the moon. I mean, you even had Sean Spicer. I think he said, we have a mandate to provide more care to more people at a lower deductibles. I thought, well, if that's the mandate, that's a tough mandate to live up to. And then you have also, Sarah, to the point about sort of deja vu, right? Status quo bias is intense in healthcare, right? Mm-hmm. People, like, change is scary in whichever direction. Here's this is Tom MacArthur in that audio, Jennifer, saying, "We're telling those people we're not going to pull the rug out from under them, and if we do this too fast, we are in fact going to pull the rug out from under them."
Well, I think their honesty is at least refreshing. And you make another good point, Chris, which is one of the complaints about Obamacare and the complaint that Donald Trump touted was that the deductibles and the copays were too high. What are they suggesting? They are suggesting a tax credit that will buy you, get this, a bare bones catastrophic plan. That is exactly what people have said they don't want. So I don't know what problem they are trying to solve. Listen, there are problems with Obamacare, and they could be addressing them. There are a lot of problems, and there's a lot of question as to whether even these high-risk pools, which they keep venerating and have never worked, are really the way to go. So there are real problems. They probably could sit down with Democrats and fix some of these, but politically for them, they have painted themselves into such a tight corner. They can't do anything rational, so they're going to be irrational, and they're going to fumfer around for, I think, the better part of a year, and it may never come to anything.
I think this incident with the Obamacare ads was actually quite instructive to me, that this is a relatively small thing. It was small, it was political, but there was such a backlash to taking away ads. Imagine the backlash to taking away health insurance for millions of people. Like you were saying, it's so hard to rip anything out by the roots, and we're just talking about advertisements. We're not talking about people's health coverage.
It's a great point. I remember when I covered the ACA fight when I was in D.C. as a Washington editor of The Nation, it was amazing to me how powerful that was. Just change is terrifying when you're talking about people's doctors and their care and their grandparents and things like that. And that's true for anyone who has even the greatest plan in the world, particularly true if you don't have a plan. Sarah, Kliff, and Jennifer Rubin, thank you very much.
Thank you.